All right, so today we're going to get into our market update for both Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of other things, including some viewer questions that are going to answer a lot of questions that I think you guys are going to want to listen to. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath.
And I'm Lisa Francoeur, back at it again.
Great to have you, always.
Such a pleasure.
Jumping in, and we got some crazy viewer questions lined up today. This is going to be some fun stuff.
We love to hear from them.
And they keep piling
so,
them in, too.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
It's going to be a bunch. Let's jump over quickly. I want to talk about, first of all, the market cap. Let's jump to Trade the Chain. Quickly on this, just to take a look at where Bitcoin is holding at a market cap of 902 bill.
Yep.
Man, if it could just hit that $1 trillion mark, that's going to be a beauty to jump in on that. Let's just zoom in on that beauty that's sitting there right now.
When it was at its all-time high, it was 64. We had hit that $1 trillion mark. So this is not uncharted territory.
Sure, sure. Neutral right now on the daily sentiment at 48 and bullish on the long-term sentiment at 69. Ethereum kind of holding its own right here at 372 billion, which is like around the 20% in terms of density. So that's been, doing really good. Of course, down a little bit in the last day, but neutral, a little bit higher than the neutral position than Bitcoin, which goes back to the whole scenario of where are people putting money right now? Are they going into more and more, which is a Coinbase report, which we got to do a video on that Coinbase report, because that really showed a lot of active wallets in the Ethereum projects for sure. Bullish though, 73.
Yeah, listen.
That's good.
Well, there's, you've got Raul Paul talking about 20,000 for one ETH. So NFTs, the market continues to explode. Majority of them are built on the ETH blockchain. So, I mean, I've always been very bullish on ETH. I'm not a maximalist per se, but I continue to see the potential and just wait till they move to proof of stake.
One thing that our researchers came up with is to continue, because we watch a lot of chain data, and part of that has been around the top 100 wallets. And when you look at the top 100 wallet activity, what's been, because remember, Bitcoin itself, we're talking about Bitcoin here, Bitcoin itself, very limited supply, obviously, we know this. There is a certain amount of lost tokens out there, and then there's a certain amount of tokens that have been literally put onto cold storage. So really, when you look at the activities of some of these very interesting wallets, I want to jump to BitInfo charts. If you guys have not jumped on this website, you probably should if you're really into crypto as much as you probably are if you're watching our channel, and because it really gets into a lot of where the addressers are holding, what percentage, what the total number of Bitcoin options are, all that kind of stuff. But we've got a lot of range here in this 100,000 to 1 million Bitcoin range. You can kind of see the amount of money that's being held right here in terms of US dollars. I want to jump to the top 100 addresses, because there's a couple of addresses that we are tracking pretty closely. This one right here, which I want to say something right here. This is a January 13, 2021.
Wow.
Okay. This one right here, January 4th. This one right here in July came in 36,000 Bitcoins.
Wow.
Dropped in.
Listen.
Now, could that be a move over from another wallet? Maybe, because sometimes these guys don't like to let you know where they're trading from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, right, when we think about the possibility of BTC hitting 6 figures, when we look at data like that, that's part of how we're able to sort of reconcile that projection. And another thing I'll add is that, again, you've seen MicroStrategy come in with $177 million yesterday. So you're continuing to see institutional buyers. And let's not forget, ETFs are on the rise. There are a number of applications that are being processed. Everyone has been rejected. But I think that you'll start to see my prediction is that you'll see that change coming down the next 6 months to 12 months. I've got some inside scoops. I'll keep you posted.
Very cool, very cool. Plus you've got the metaverse coming in. You've got so many activities in the marketplace right now with, of course, during this bull run that really kind of takes us to the next level. But I think the key here, if you're looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, running us out to the $100,000 mark, I think the point is that we've got to be very cautious on when you're going to take profits, because you're probably going to do that in this run and reposition yourself for more acquisition later in the bear market. Because I know a lot of people will tell us, never sell your Bitcoin, never sell your Bitcoin. But if you're a good investor, you're taking profits. That's just the point. Now, could you be a Michael Saylor and you're just saying, listen, I'm just holding forever? Okay, that's a different game. But you may have liquidity capability to do that. But a lot of investors, I think in most cases, are looking to try to, one, reel back in, take your profits, pay your taxes, and then move into your next investment or trade. And that might be in a different scenario, especially as we go forward. You might want to start a business, you know, all kinds of things that could really kind of play into that.
I mean, listen, and reinvest, right?
Yep,
Like,
real estate,
there's
cash,
so many,
real estate, crypto right now.
if you want to make money, it's a good place to be.
Let's jump into some of our viewer questions, because there's a whole line up here that I want to get to before.
I'm perking up.
Yeah, because it's getting crazy. All right.
Here we
Content
go.
as always.
I'd like to see some content on ICO upcoming projects. Thanks, Parrish.
All right.
So what do we have? What new exciting projects do we have?
Just for, you guys can find this on CoinMarketCap if you just go into the upcoming projects tab. And you can kind of see the list that we've got here. That is the list we've been, we follow these like everybody does. There's a few that we are kind of looking at, and one of them that I'm interested in is this one called Creator Platform, right here, CTR. Let me jump to that one right here. That is an upcoming, it looks like it's a September 8th, starts in 15 days, so there you go. It's an ignition, is gonna be where basically it's a paid network to get into this deal. I like this in the sense of where it's going around how building more platforms for entrepreneurs who are moving out in the place of creating content and doing things like that. So this gets back into the artist side of things. But I think
the creator economy.
Yeah, and any time you're looking at ICOs, one thing you really want to do is you should know a little bit about the space. And if you look down the token list and you just go in and study the first 50. And when I say study, spend an hour or two looking through the first 50 and find the ones that have a little bit of synergies with maybe stuff you know or things you want to learn about or some kind of research that you're already doing. That's a big part of that. So yeah.
And the teams. Who's building out these projects?
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. We are going to cover some of those though for sure.
Altcoin season's coming. Get ready.
Next up on the questions are, what is the sentiment amplification? And okay, all right, so
Great question.
Pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people miss and understand what market sentiment is. And I want to jump to this quick story. Crypto market sentiment finally re-enters the positive zone. This has been, when you look at the general market, it has been in a little bit of a soft position over the past few months. And here recently, just this past week, we saw that up. So this was inching toward a crypto market sentiment, finally entered a positive zone once again after a 7-day moving crypto sentiment score. This was for the cent score from Amenix. And there's many of them out there. We use Trade the Chain, we use our own platform, Rever Labs, that really dives into a lot of this. But I also want to talk about where and how data is collected on sentiment, because this is where it gets a little bit dicey for most people. This is not something you would do unless you are a business and you're trying to build maybe a sentiment cube or pull something in that is going to give you some sentiment scoring. We use a variety of tools out there. One of them that you can look at is one called Lexalytics. Now, Lexalytics, pretty straightforward. Let me kind of zoom in on this one right here. Social media monitoring, basically it's a goldmine of consumer stories and opinion data. So that's what we're drawing upon, is opinion data that's coming out of this thing called NLP, which is natural language processing, but it's a machine learning process. But it's looking at hashtags and slang and all that rap.
Yep. Don't get me started. But I think that that's an important distinction because in crypto, you'll find that, that type of conversation in the social arena definitely moves the market, which is part of the reason Elon Musk is under some heat right now.
No doubt. So that is sentiment. It pulls from a variety of platforms, including comments on things like Reddit, scenarios like that. You could even pull comments from things like YouTube and analyze those to look at a direction. The key here with sentiment is to have the API, I know we're getting into the weeds here, but to have the API connectivity or the pipeline to the data that's relative to the study that you're trying to run a sentiment query on. In our case, we're trying to run sentiment queries on blockchain. So we pull down as much API that is available out there. Fortunately for the blockchain world and the blockchain industry, lots of APIs available. So hopefully that answers your question. Sentiment is good. The force is strong.
And for what it's worth, I didn't know either, so I'm glad that we kind of broke that down.
All right, so people are saying this is about XRP.
Oh, here we go.
Sell at 190 due to court case, speculation in September.
Then be sad when it hits $10.
Yeah, so this is a maximalist on XRP. All right, so I'm still very bullish on XRP, and I still like their position in terms of the case. And even if they were to somehow get compromised in the United States, it's quite possible XRP still lives.
Of course. I mean, they've got a global footprint.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, we spoke about this earlier. The fact is that, you know, there's a lot of opportunity outside of the U.S., which is part of where, not part, but which is where a lot of the momentum has come from. Because the price surge that we've seen from, you know, January, February time to now, I mean, I'm looking for an entry point to get back into XRP.
Yeah, so I think, you know, if you are an XRP holder, maybe you're a young XRP holder, maybe you do want to take profits. You know, that's up to you. It's on your own kind of thing when you're doing your investment strategies out there. But as I have said, this is one of those that I think is definitely going to have a good pump and run. All right, next up on the questions.
What's next?
All right.
Where can you, what a great
XRP.
question.
Yeah, so, well, listen, that's been a little bit of a trouble here recent. A lot of projects, or a lot of exchanges have essentially pulled them off. Even if you purchase this now, most likely, well, all cases, if you've had it on an exchange, it's still there and you can sell it. Don't do that. Not investment advice, but if I was doing it, I wouldn't be selling it. The opportunity here, though, is either on KuCoin, and there's also a couple of other spots like the, you know, bot trading platform Pionex. You can get to it there. There's also some other ways, so you can move tokens across both on KuCoin and on Pionex to kind of get to XRP and get it in your wallet.
How long do you think it will take for it to be for XRP to be relisted? Because Coinbase, Gemini, usual suspects.
Well, the minute I think there's any error in this whether it's a settlement or anything that shows a positive move, the wheels of the listing engines will begin, and at that point, woo boy.
Like I said, it's cheap.
Rush.
It's still very cheap.
Because not many people are going to go through the hoops to get to XRP right now. So that's another reason why I still see it has a lot of this sideways action right now, because it's very difficult to get to. All right, next up on our questions. All right, so this one's from Eric Lindstromberg. All right, so love the videos. Great. Thank you so much, Eric. Guarding a deep dive on analysis on VeChain. We're going to do that for you. What's the short run on that? I
mean, look, the long and short of it is that VeChain is a blockchain platform designed to enhance supply chain management and business processes. And I actually bought VeChain last week because, again, I think from a utility standpoint, to see the level of pervasiveness associated with VeChain, it's sort of like, you know, an octopus. It has its tentacles in a number of different verticals. But let's dive into, you know, what I mean by that, Paul, because I feel like folks really wrap their heads around it. There's a lot going on here. Yeah,
VET, let's look at their movement here real quick. You can kind of see it had an all-time high right here at 25 cents, which was this took the same path as almost all the major tokens has taken, including this dip right here, which was on July 19th, 57 cents. That was the place to buy if you were buying back in then. But right here is a good correction point. Now, can it get up there? We're going to give you the analysis, Eric. We'll definitely jump into that. And also, we've been in communication with their developer community. One thing about VeChain that's very interesting to me is the community itself. And always when I look at a token or a project analysis, tokenomics, #1, founders, and that community is #2, for sure. So we're going to get to that for you. Definitely is an investment right now. I think a lot of these, especially these kinds of projects, definitely are worth an investigation.
Right.
Especially in this one, because it's definitely, I think, still a little bit of an underpriced project.
I can't say I disagree. And as I said, I got in last week. And the fact is that when you look at the runway, you know, when you look at how much opportunity there is, like
this
at
one's
12 cents.
Yeah, and it's tied to ETH and also to Bitcoin. So much like some of these big projects that are in that, say, the 20 to 50 token ranking, a lot of those move very,
commingled.
Yep, they move with the ebb and flow of Bitcoin, for sure.
What else we got?
Next up.
Darko
Fibonacci.
Murphy. Fibonacci. 30?
Darko Murphy. So I think what he's talking about here
is Bitcoin.
All right, Fibonacci time also lines up with the 30th. So we did an analysis. I think you're talking about this, Darko. We did an analysis on Bitcoin hitting or breaking out by the 30th. And my analysis, I think it was a couple videos back on Bitcoin. Check our videos to double check that. I'll pull them up, but for sure. But the analysis that we were going at was that we needed a breakout. The breakout is the above 50 mark and getting past that 52 to 53, which you look at some of the moving averages, which you're talking about trading charts. Even though I understand how to read them, we don't analyze them heavily here, but we do look at them because there are some similarities, and you should always be tracking other methods of technical analysis in anything you're doing. So the point being is that, yes, I agree with you. The Fibonacci does line up with what our sentiment analysis was. Our sentiment analysis still points toward the end of the month for that breakout to occur. So hopefully that answered your question there. Darko.
And hopefully we're right, because who doesn't want the running of the bulls when it comes to...
I'm in. But there's people out there taking profits right now, which is okay. If you were in at 20,000 or 24, maybe you got in last October.
Yep.
And you need to put some money in the bank. There it is.
Oh, we were just talking about that. I mean, profit taking.
There it is.
Profit taking is never a bad idea, but I think that you're seeing a lot more interest. When you see just how the crypto markets are evolving, and again how many different applications, use cases, etc. We've got PayPal activating in the UK. Yep. Bitcoin as payment. Like, it's just
here to stay.
There's a lot. There's a lot happening that will continue to build momentum. So I'm very bullish.
Yeah. What else up here, man? We got a bunch of questions here. We're going to go hard. All right, waiting for Solana to dip under 70. You want to see it, get it while you can. I still am in the 40 to 50 range, so my likelihood is it's not going to get that order in, but hey, could. We'll see. But if you can get it under, go for it. Let's see where Sol is at right now. You are trading hot at 71.19. You're going to get close to it. You're going to get close to it very quickly, so we'll see. Let's look at the sentiment on that right now, because that's an interesting one. Right there. Here's your chance, boys.
Oh, interesting.
It's starting its downward move. The likelihood is that Solana, which I love this project, by the way. Solana is one of my favorites. I do hold it, and it's one that I like. It's definitely an opportunity here of where it might be moving. Transaction sentiment is a little soft right now. This goes into that sideways action that we have been predicting. We would see that bump, hold before we see some of these resistance, then we would see some moves. That's kind of what we've been holding on back to the 30th of September, or excuse me, August. And where that might happen. All right.
What else we got?
Let's go. Grayscale ETF first.
Good question.
A good one, yeah.
Well, Kathy Wood is looking to launch a Bitcoin ETF as well.
You've got a lineup of people.
Every single application for Bitcoin or crypto ETFs has been rejected.
Yeah.
So will that change?
I would agree. I think Grayscale is probably going to be the first one that moves. I mean, you are talking about, there's only a handful of companies that really kind of move in the inner circles, and who's going to get the first, stamp of approval. It would be a close race between Kathy Wood and Grayscale.
Okay, my money's on ARK.
All right, well, there you go. All right, next up. Nexo, totally undervalued, no-brainer investment. Is it totally undervalued? Okay, so we actually had Nexo's CEO on the show here talking about it. For some of you who do not know, Nexo is basically a loan platform, much like Celsius. You can park your crypto over there, you can earn yields, and you can take loans out on it and hold it. Now, there are some benefits for it. It is an international-based company. Is it a potential if you get into the next token or something of that nature, much like what if you're in Voyager, if you're in the VGX token, that took a nice little pump and then it recoiled. There's some things that you have to watch, but you have to be I think a participant of the platform. Meaning, if you need to park your Bitcoin, but you need some cash, Nexo is probably one of the best ones out there. That and Celsius, I would kind of look at those two. We should probably do a comparison
Borrow
video.
Against your coins.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the Sailor model. Never sell, just borrow, which is not a taxable event. Not tax advice,
Exactly.
but not a taxable event. All right, next up.
Not financial advice. Eric Lynn, what does he have for us? Got a question. Is there a real need to buy AMP tokens?
Besides staking. Or traders buying, flipping for point. Okay, all right. I mean, in the real world, a buyer and seller in the transaction of AMP as collateral are not required to hold AMP themselves, right? Yes, that is correct. Yeah, so AMP, and again, we had the CEO on with AMP and Flexa Network. If you understand Flexa, it's a really cool payments platform. I think of it kind of the next generation Stripe. Okay. And Stripe is very
So what are the differences
prolific.
between Stripe and Flexa?
Well, Stripe is a true merchant account. And eventually, once that we get banks accepting cryptocurrency, there's going to need to be a network there to take it. Stripe will most likely be scrambling to move in that position. Flex is already there. So that's the cool thing. And they're using the AMP token as the core basis of that whole infrastructure. So answer to you is, yeah, it's a good, if you're an investor, yes, you should be looking at doing some trades on AMP. And it is a strong one, but it's one of those, it's a slow mover, much like Algorand. Not huge, crazy movements, because it's a core architecture, you know, and where it's going.
It's about 6 cents right now. Relatively cheap.
I like it. Yeah, let's see where we are on the next video, or excuse me, next question. Don't ever sell. Mobius. Wow, that is, I wonder if that's the real Mobius.
Wait, here we go though, because I've got one thing is, seems like a Bitcoin maximalist. Don't ever sell your Bitcoin. Best asset ever. Is that right, Mr. Mobius? Or Mrs. Mobius?
If you need money, stake it. Gain passive income.
That's kind of perfect on the heels of AMP.
Well, you cannot earn enough money on staking on Bitcoin. Their yield percentages, even at best, if you're going after just parking yields like on Celsius or Nexo, or excuse me, Voyager, you could stake it. Yes, there are some opportunities there. You could move it around and do some bot trading with. There's a lot of places you can do to gain more income. But the point is, when somebody is an investor, because I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I'm a big Bitcoin lover, and investors take profits. That's what investors do. And if you're in it for a 20-year run, that's a different game. You should, and at least this is what I do, I park a certain percentage that is that 20-year, this is the kids' fund, and it's never gonna move. Those are the tokens they're gonna own, and that's gonna be great. But in the meantime, life happens. And, you know, there is this thing you have to do. Yeah, so investors. I'm always in concern that people are leaving money on the table. That's the one thing that we don't want to see you do out there for sure is, you know, if you need it and you need to be taking profits, you should be, and don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Buy in, buy back in, continue that cycle, because it's going to happen. Take it all the way up. If you weren't here in 2017, you know, you're in a different place than a lot of people. So think about that. All right, moving on. So next up here.
Not sure if this is a question or a statement, but we love it.
All right, Lisa's millennial, I love it. Thank you, we appreciate that. Oh, keep them short, thank you. Now we're on a 15-minute video.
Oh my gosh, in a short 10-minute video, all right.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna try to get faster.
Note to self, Jim Pearson.
All right, so thanks again for watching. Of course, if you guys are listening in over on the podcast, the best thing you can do is give us likes over there.
And just keep encouraging everyone that you know to watch the show. Make sure you subscribe. We want to see you on YouTube. Comment below, click that bell. Make sure you keep yourself up to date on all of our videos. And sharing is caring, so make sure that you share your thoughts.
We'll catch you next time right here on TechBath.